Everyone has told you to stop overthinking. Your friends, your family, maybe even a therapist. Stop overthinking. Just relax. You are making it bigger than it is. Let it go. And you have tried. You genuinely have. You have taken deep breaths. You have told yourself to move on. You have tried to just be present. And your mind kept going anyway. What if the problem is not that you cannot stop overthinking? What if the real problem is that everyone has been misunderstanding what your overthinking actually is? Because what most people call overthinking is not a malfunction. It is not anxiety without cause. It is not your mind working against you. It is your mind trying to tell you something. Something important. Something that has not been heard yet. Something that will not stop until it finally is. Today we are going to talk about what your overthinking is actually trying to say. Stay till the end, because the last point is the one that changes everything. Let's begin. Point number 1. Overthinking is not anxiety. It is unprocessed truth. Here is the first thing most people get wrong about overthinking. They treat it as a symptom of anxiety, as a habit to be broken, as noise to be quieted. And so every strategy they try is designed to make it stop. But what if your overthinking is not noise? What if it is signal? When your mind keeps returning to the same thought, the same situation, the same conversation, the same decision, it is not doing this randomly. It is doing it because something in that thought has not yet been fully processed. Something true has not yet been fully seen. Something important has not yet been fully acknowledged. Your mind is not malfunctioning when it keeps returning to something. It is doing exactly what a mind is supposed to do when something important has been left unresolved. It is circling, waiting, returning, until the thing it is trying to process finally gets the full attention it needs. Psychologists call this ruminative processing. And while chronic rumination can become problematic, the impulse behind it is not a flaw. It is your mind's way of flagging something that matters. Something that has not been given the full, honest attention it deserves. The question is not how to make the thinking stop. The question is, what is the thinking trying to show you that you have not yet been willing to fully see? Point number 2. The thought that will not leave is usually the truth you have not yet admitted. Think about the thing you keep thinking about. Not the surface version. The real thing. The one underneath all the analysis and the questioning and the going circles. Is there something there that you already know, but have not yet fully admitted to yourself? A relationship that is not working, but you are not ready to face. A decision you already know the answer to, but are afraid to make. A boundary you know you need to set, but have been avoiding. A truth about a situation that is uncomfortable enough that your mind keeps approaching it and stepping back. Approaching it and stepping back. That circling is not weakness. It is your mind being honest with you, while the rest of you is not yet ready to be honest back. The overthinking is not the problem. The overthinking is a messenger. And the message, if you are willing to sit still long enough to actually hear it, is usually something you already know. Something that has been true for a while. Something your mind has been trying to bring into the light. Something that will keep circling until you finally look at it directly. Point number 3. Overthinking often means your needs are not being met, and your mind knows it. Here is another message that overthinking often carries. When you find yourself obsessively thinking about relationship, a job, a living situation, a dynamic with another person, your mind is often not just processing the situation. It is processing the gap between what you need and what you are currently receiving. Your mind knows your needs even when you've been too busy or too accommodating or too afraid to consciously acknowledge them. And when those needs are consistently not being met, it starts a circle. The overthinking about the friendship is Sometimes your mind telling you that this friendship is not feeding you the way you need to be fed. The overthinking about the job is sometimes your mind telling you that this work is not aligned with what you're actually here to do. The overthinking about the conversation is sometimes your mind telling you that something important was left unsaid that needs to be said. Your mind is not creating a problem by overthinking. It is pointing at a problem that already exists, one that your conscious self has been reluctant to fully acknowledge. When you treat the overthinking as the enemy, you silence the messenger without hearing the message, and the situation that generated the message remains unchanged. Point number 4. The overthinking stops when the message is finally heard. Here is what most people never discover because they are too busy trying to stop the thinking. When you actually hear what the overthinking is trying to tell you, it stops. Not because you forced it to stop, not because you distracted yourself into forgetting it, but because the thing it was trying to communicate has finally been received. The signal has been acknowledged, the truth has been seen, the need has been recognized, the decision has been made, and the mind, which was never trying to torture you, which was only ever trying to get your attention, finally rests. Think about the last time you were overthinking something, and then finally made a decision about it, or finally had the honest conversation, or finally admitted to yourself what you already knew. Did the overthinking continue at the same intensity after that? Probably not, because the message had been received. The mind had done what it was trying to do, and it could finally move on. The solution to overthinking is not suppression. It is listening. Deep, honest, sometimes uncomfortable listening to what your mind has been trying to tell you all along. Point number 5. Your overthinking is evidence of a mind that cares deeply and refuses to settle. Here is the final point, and this is the one that changes how you see yourself. Your overthinking is not a character flaw. It is not evidence that something is broken in you. It is not a sign that you are too anxious or too sensitive or too much. It is evidence that you have a mind that cares deeply about getting things right, about understanding situations fully, about not settling for surface-level explanations when the truth runs deeper, about not making decisions carelessly when the stakes feel important. A mind that does not care does not overthink. It accepts the first available answer and moves on. It takes things at face value. It does not circle back to examine what might have been missed. Your mind cannot do that, not because it is broken, but because it is built to go deeper, to look longer, to refuse to settle until it is actually understood. That is not anxiety. That is integrity. That is a mind that takes its own experience seriously enough to not let important things go unexamined. And yes, it is exhausting sometimes. Yes, it makes rest difficult. Yes, it means you carry more than most people around you. But it also means you understand things that others miss. You catch things before they become problems. You make decisions with a depth of consideration that most people never bring. Your overthinking is not the problem. It never was. It was always the message. And the message was always worth hearing. So, let us bring this together. Your overthinking is not anxiety without cause. It is unprocessed truth waiting to be acknowledged. The thought that will not leave is usually the truth you have not yet admitted. The obsessive thinking about a situation is often your mind pointing at a need that is not being met. When the message is finally heard, the thinking stops. And your overthinking is ultimately evidence of a mind that cares too deeply to settle for surface-level understanding. This is not a flaw. This was never a flaw. It is a specific signature of a mind that refuses to let important things go unexamined. That takes its own experience seriously. That will not rest until it is actually understood. And the next time your mind starts circling something, instead of telling it to stop, Try asking it what it is trying to say. You might be surprised by how clearly it answers. If this video finally reframed something you have been told your entire life was a problem, leave a like. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need to hear this. And subscribe to InnerIQ, because this is exactly what we do here. We decode the minds that the world never took the time to understand. What has your overthinking been trying to tell you? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. See you in the next one.